Well, thank you, Peter, and it is good to be here. And I want to assure you of two things. One, this is a draft plan, and two, we are here to listen. But I want to give you a little perspective. When I was a kid in Alki in 1962, when the World's Fair was going on, this was a city that was growing in population and growing in jobs. It was also, my neighborhood, Alki, actually was wired for the trolley buses. The wires just didn't exist in the center of the city. Then later on, by the time I hit junior high, jobs were leaving this city. The population of this city dropped. We were closing down schools or turning them into condos as Queen Anne High School and Queen Anne Elementary School. Housing was affordable because it was dropping in value, and you could find parking downtown. Actually, after college, when I came back to Seattle in the 80s, you could find parking downtown on a Saturday. Today, where do we find ourselves? Jobs are back, children are back, we don't have enough room in our schools, and traffic is back in a way it never existed before. Back in the day when I was a kid in Alki, there were more people than cars. At some point in the 1990s, we moved to more cars than people. So we have some challenges. How have we tried to face these challenges? This region has said yes to light rail. This region and this city actually said yes to the largest increase in metro bus service since the system was created in the 1970s. In West Seattle alone, 50,000 trips, including on the Sea Line, have been added just this year. But if you think about all those jobs and all those people and all those kids, that by itself is not going to be enough to get us there. And that's why finally answering the question that people said no to in 1969 and 1970 is really the discussion we need to have tonight. The other thing that happened when I was in junior high school, besides losing jobs, losing population, and closing school, is that the federal government basically offered to pay for a rapid transit system. And we as a region said no. At that same time, we said yes to the Kingdom. So I don't know where my parents and their friends' thinking was, but that's the choices they made. So today we have a choice, and it's pretty difficult. I've been on the board for the last 2 years as mayor, but as a legislator, I struggled with this issue, as have my colleagues. How do we build fast enough, and how do we afford it? Those are going to be, I think, the two issues that we hear about tonight. Last December, the mayors of the largest cities in the West Coast, Portland, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, got together and we discussed two things. One is the homeless crisis that we each have in our city, and the other is transit. So the challenge that we all face with transit is we're not building fast enough. The other challenge that we all face is we can only tax so much. And those are really the two major levers that we're dealing with. In each case, there are some things that we can do. I'm committed to creating a streamlined process to bring down the costs of building light rail in the city of Seattle. And we can do a lot around permitting and streamlining the processes to bring down the timeline and to bring down the price. But that won't do it by itself. We're still going to have to take a pretty big vote in November. But a vote that I believe if we don't take, we will have done what happened in 1969. We will have said no, and the congestion you see today will be significantly worse. And I know that's hard to hear. I don't live in West Seattle anymore. For the last 3 decades, I've lived on Capitol Hill. When I was a young staff person on the city council, the region decided to build a light rail station in my neighborhood. Well, now I turned 60 and I got a light rail station. I'm glad folks didn't say no when I was younger, but I get how hard it is to listen to some of those timelines. I'm not just committed to West Seattle, I'm committed to seeing if we can't do it sooner. I'm committed to continuing to work if this passes to see a re-engaged federal government, because part of the answer really is additional money. But I also think that part of the answer is not to ask you for additional money, but to join with the mayors throughout the West Coast and really across this country who are desperate to build transit faster and to see the federal government as a partner. Now, I said I would be brief because I want to listen to all of you, but that truly is, I think, the question before us. I just gave you a short history of 60 years in the city of Seattle. And in the middle of that history was a fairly bad decision. Can we make a different decision? Can we get this right? That really is a question before us in November. With that, Peter?